And welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Weekly Show, a podcast brought to you by the Livingston Parish News. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. And today we're joined by a special guest because he is in session and a very busy man at the moment, but he has taken the time to come check in with us so we can release it out to you, the community. I'm going to let him introduce himself real quick. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon, McHugh. It's an honor to be with you again. I'm Buddy Mincey, State Representative from Denham Springs and Walker areas.
Yes, sir. And today we're actually doing a two-parter. First, I want to start off with been watching your social media, especially sort of as COVID eased off. The minute that window opened, you have been inviting people and getting involved in the community in the parish. So first and foremost, I want you to talk about this morning. I know, being sort of a pseudo farmer yourself, you were at 4-H awards at Walker High School, correct?
That's correct. We were at Achievement Day today, and I remember the excitement that I had whenever I went to Achievement Day. Of course, my daughter was real active in 4-H, so she went as well, and I've been going to Achievement Day for a long time, helping them with the awards program. So it was good to go back today and see the kids back in their Achievement Day for the parish.
Oh yeah, David Gray gave out the reporter award this year because I had something scheduled with you, and my mother was out of town, and I'm sure he did a great job. Looking forward to seeing who won that. But it's always a lot of fun to go
Yes.
in there. It's a high energy kind of deal. But that kind of segues into education.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's hosted at Walker High, one of the bigger campuses, doing a lot of different things over there at that school. So let's talk about some of these things that you've done, not to necessarily get involved in the community, but to show people from outside looking in a lot of the things we have to offer. First and foremost, about a year ago this time, State Superintendent Caden Brumley came in to see a lot of different things and kind of gave you, I think, sort of a template on the tour that you'd like to give. So tell us a little bit about that visit.
Yeah, first of all, let me just say this. Look, I love my parish. I love Livingston Parish. I'm a proud product of it. I've always been engaged in our community. I enjoy going to events like Achievement Day today. Too many times you see elected officials that go things for the photo ops or they go things during election time. You'll see them disappear until it gets close to election time. But I've always been engaged in my community and proud of it. So that naturally I want to show it off. Proud of our school system and our first tour that we had, like you mentioned, we brought in State Superintendent Kay Brumley, and I just want to introduce him to Livingston Parish Public Schools and all the great things that we're doing. And we had a great event. And then that led to, I think the next one I had was former gubernatorial candidate Eddie Risponi. And what happens a lot of times, when you have policymakers trying to, better our education system around the state, they look at things through the perspective of the failing school systems that they're aware of. And consequently, a high performing school system like ourselves, we become collateral damage. We become unintended consequences. And, it puts us at odds, when you have reformers who are out there trying to push the envelope, push the needle, and I'm trying to protect my school system. So, I've made it a goal of myself to let them know who we are as a parish, let them see the results of what we're trying to do. We may not agree on everything, but at least they understand who I am, where I'm coming from, and why I'm so passionate about protecting public education like I am. So the first one that we brought in was Eddie Risponi, and I've got to know Mr. Risponi pretty well, and we came in and we wowed him. I mean,
Sure.
we truly did. We wowed him. He had no idea. Look, I think we've got some great things going on in our parish, and they really were impressed with what they saw. Nextly, I brought in the Capital Region legislative delegation. I brought in some legislators. And it's the same thing. When we're at the Capitol and we're discussing issues and we're taking positions on things, it's important for your colleagues to know who you are and what area you come from as well. So welcomed them to come, and we toured some campuses and toured some businesses and I brought the mayors in, I brought the sheriff in, and just really let them know who Livingston Parish is. And I think that's helpful for me as a legislator because whenever I'm trying to pass legislation, at least they can understand where I'm coming from. So the capital region was the one we did next. Then we brought in the film industry.
Mhm.
No, I'm sorry, we brought in the healthcare.
Healthcare.
Healthcare. And and let me tell you how that happened. I'm in a regional meeting with the CEO of Oshner's, and while we're sitting there talking, and they're talking about workforce, they're talking about all the things that they're doing in New Orleans and Baton Rouge to increase their pipeline for the workforce. And I raised my hand. I said, "Well, that's great. You're doing that in Baton Rouge and New Orleans. What about Livingston Parish?" So I offered for them to come see the great programs that we have in healthcare in our school systems already. They jumped on it. We extended it to North Oaks. We extended it to Our Lady of the Lake. We brought in North Shore Technical Community College, brought in Southeastern, and all those have footprints in our parish, and we just had a really collaborative discussion on the great programs that we have in Livingston Parish. And we visited some of the bigger campuses close by just for convenience, typically on these tours. But what I assured them was that I'm showing you this at this campus, but you can go to our campuses throughout the parish and see the quality of education that we're putting out. And so that look, they were most impressed. And in fact, the lake it has opened so many doors for us. Actually brought in our central office personnel and our and healthcare sciences to go tour their facilities. They've offered to bring all of our healthcare science students over and tour their facilities. They opened up some internships. I think this was a big deal for our parish because historically we've never had that opportunity. So now they opened up some possible internships for our students during the summer. And then, so then they don't just want the certified science or healthcare. They want the non-certified. They want to train the ones that didn't get certified for us, but they also want our welders, our electricians, and it really was it's just a good opportunity for us to showcase who we are, but also to open up job opportunities for our students.
Sure.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the film industry, there was one I wanted to jump to very quickly, and that's Stephen Wagasback from Lobby. For those of you who don't know, that's the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, heavily involved in the legislature, especially as of late. You brought him out here. I want you to talk briefly about how that visit was, but I kind of want to ask you something that might connect the dots.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say that he was blown away. He brought some staff members with him, and they were absolutely blown away with what we're doing. And while we were there, one of the things that I think is worthy is that we're doing some phenomenal jobs that can be duplicated across the state. And when Eddie Risponi was here, and also when Stephen Wagensback was here, their question to us was, how can we do this somewhere else? So we are having those conversations, and and I think Stephen he's the CEO of Lobby and president, and he understands what I think. I think they have their vision of what public education is, and then when they come in and see what we're actually producing, it just changes their perspectives. And I think it can open itself up to some common ground that instead of us maybe being adversarial on issues, maybe we can work together and find some common ground.
And that's where I was going with it. That's what I wanted to ask you was, getting involved at the legislative level, a lot of people see these, big public school systems that aren't doing so hot. Maybe there's some gaps or whatever, but bringing them out here so that you don't have that adversarial relationship with other legislators to say, like, this is where I'm coming from.
Absolutely.
This is the system I represent. I've been on the board. I know how hard these teachers work, how hard these kids work. This is what public school can be. And trying to give them, kind of like you did, setting up a template for tours, giving them a template to bring around the state. Is that about right?
That is right. Again, a couple of things for me is, I want my colleagues to understand who I am, but I want those industries, the policymakers, if you will, who are pushing educational reform, to understand that we're doing a good job as well. And there's so much. I mean, I had a task force. I know we're going to talk about legislation in a little bit, but I had a task force last year to study our teacher, workforce, recovery, retention, and recruitment of our teachers. And our workforce has just been we're in a crisis mode right now. And in fact, Board of Regents Commissioner Dr. Kim Hunter Reed and I appeared before the House Ed Committee yesterday. And I let her do the presentation. Our task force was a 2-year program. She gave the report from the first year of all the findings and all that type of thing, and I followed up with it, and and just really highlighted the trend that I've seen in public education and our workforce, and how trying it is to keep teachers. And I told the House Ed Committee, I said, look, I said our students need you now more than ever. But it's not what you think. It's not for better curriculum. It's not for accountability. They need you to keep teachers in the classrooms. And I've seen the trend over the years. And our teacher, the workforce, it's not just so many people think it's about money. Well, our teachers knew what they were getting into, when they went into education, but they were able to overcome that because they loved what they did. And now, because of all the policies that's come down from the policyholders, that has changed, and we have to do something about that.
Sure, sure. And we talked about that last year when you
Yep.
came and talked about your legislative agenda. And again, for those of you who are watching, this is the follow up to that legislative podcast. If you didn't get a chance to see it, please go check our Facebook page or our YouTube. We posted it on Monday. Let's get back to it. You had the film industry in, and of course, this is very interesting because you bring folks to the STEM Center, and of course, all that has just constantly expanded.
Correct.
Constantly. I see you smiling. Definitely been a success story there at the STEM Center here in Denham Springs. Of course, recently had the Science and Technology show that Miss Nikki Laverne puts on.
Yep.
Had put on one and then COVID, but now got back to it. But tell us a little bit about the film industry and how you were trying to get them, show them what we have to offer here.
Yeah, and me take the STEM Center and just share this with you. Whenever we had the healthcare industry in, they were interested in our STEM Center, and there's a biology component to STEM that I thought they were interested in. So we went through the tour of the STEM Center, and we talked about all of our digital media, our programming, our drones, and just all those things. And at the end of it, I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all, y'all having to listen to all this, because they're healthcare folks. And they said, no, we need all of this too. So there's so much that's out there for us. But our STEM Center has a digital program, as well as Walker High School. Walker High School has an advanced program. I think they're maybe in their 10th year, maybe more. Denham's in their 3rd year. But we have a good product. I mean, we're doing a phenomenal job of preparing these kids for that industry, and I want the film industry to know. I want them to know. We invited our colleges. We invited Southeastern and LSU and Southern, and we want them to know the caliber and the quality of students that we're turning out to again create opportunities for our students, scholarships, whatever that may be. But we wowed the film industry. I would say this, every time we've brought somebody in, legislators or whoever it may be, they've all come away saying, wow, y'all are really doing a good job over here.
Sure. And, a lot of that centers around a lot of the innovation
That's
that's
correct.
coming through these schools. So let's talk about, just to sort of wrap it up, I know that you had 3 kind of, I don't want to call them conventions, but I think you call them summits.
Correct.
So let's go in, I guess you can call it date order here. First was Drainage Summit. I
Mhm.
remember this. This was March of last year,
That's
about
correct.
a year ago now. What gave you that idea to try to bring? It was a stakeholder kind of meeting.
I've been real involved with a lot of our parish issues for a long time. I was a school board member for 13 years. Prior to that, my dad was a parish councilman for 16 years. We were very close. We shared, most everything. So, I've seen the drainage issues that we've had, and one thing that I've observed from my end is that there's too many times that we've got this group doing one thing and that group doing another thing, and we're not collaborating as much as I think we should be. And from the drainage districts to the municipalities to the parish council to the parish, and I saw an opportunity for us to just come in collectively and talk about drainage throughout the parish. and try to share, what's working well in areas and what's not working well, and the opportunities for us to work together. There's a tremendous amount of money out there from infrastructure. The Louisiana Watershed Initiative has so much monies that are available for these grants. And if as a parish we don't start working together and pulling in the same direction, we're going to miss those opportunities. So that's what initially led to the educational summit for drainage. Consequently, we had round one of Louisiana Watershed Initiatives go out. I don't think we were awarded any. We brought Pat Forbes in and with his group, and after that, and we opened up the opportunity for those who applied for applications to be. They were competitive based, and we need to be putting our best foot forward on that. So we did that with the drainage. But another thing that we've got a tremendous amount of infrastructure monies that are out there as far as broadband. And, we all know from COVID, whenever one body was working from home and we were trying to do hybrid schools from home, how important it is to have broadband throughout the parish. I think we're probably about 40% of our parish is unserved, and there's money available. And again, I didn't see that we had a common voice trying to push in that direction. So we got with the parish council. We formed a linked up Livingston committee, and we got stakeholders from around the parish who are very driven and interested in making us better. Jack Varnado is heading it up, and they've done a really good job. They did some surveys up front to try to establish exactly where we're at as a parish. And then we were trying to get our providers to apply for these grants so they can make investments in our parish. And I'll tell you, it was real discouraging because this is all about a business decision. This got to be something that they make the investors a return, and they can get a return on their investment, and it wasn't advantageous enough. So we were real fearful that we were not going to get any applicants. But we had one. Charter got one, and I think it's been selected, and we're looking forward to that one rolling out. But there's also another component to it. There's a literacy, component to it, and we have to be, we have to do a better job of educating our parish, not just our students, but everyone, our adults, and there's another component that's going to come off that I think is going to be real beneficial.
Well, and yes, Miss Crystal and Mr. Jack came and did a podcast with us.
Yes,
and we've been watching their progress. So looking forward to hearing about that charter situation as it moves forward.
Yep.
I do believe that's going to be it for the tours portion. We appreciate you stopping by today to discuss your legislative agenda, which remember that came out yesterday. So if you want to check that out, please look at our Facebook page or on our website, www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. I'm going to let you introduce yourself real quick as we head on out the door. Please.
Buddy Mincey, state rep from District 71, Denham Springs and Walker areas. And it was a pleasure to be with you today.
Absolutely. And we appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us today. Again, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys out there for taking the time to watch or listen to this podcast. Please remember the news is on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays at $7 a month to get that in your mailbox. We're also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you next time.